Hello, this is Rochelle Agatha, and this is an Excel lecture that I call Excel Basics. It's Part A. There will be two different lectures, Part A and Part B. The first thing I want to cover is how to open a new workbook. So when you come into Excel, you can, if you're not in a workbook, it'll be a new one, or you can actually say File New, and you can create a brand new workbook, and you can just say Blank Workbook. This video is being done in Excel 2010, so if you have 2013, the newest version, it will look a little bit different. If not, the older version isn't recommended for my class, Accounting 104. So that's a brand new workbook here. I'm going to go back to my lecture screen. The other thing I want to talk about is the basics of Excel work off of a column and a row, and where a column and a row intersect is a cell. So you'll see here that in this cell reference box it says that my cursor is sitting in cell C8, and that is a function of column C and row 8, so it's cell C8. I'm showing you this by just taking my mouse and clicking the left button on my mouse on the top of the row or the top of the column or the entire row. That's a global action as opposed to just clicking around with my mouse cell by cell. I want to go over the quick some of the menus in the quick access toolbar. The menus, this is the ribbon up at the top, and there are menu options within the ribbon, so we're going to go through all of them in this lecture. And the next one, there's the file, home, insert, page layout, etc. So these are menus. Within that menu are submenus with little drop down boxes to pull up the options. A workbook is made up of numerous sheets. The workbook will open up with 3 sheets in it, and then you can add more sheets by clicking on the insert worksheet tab, and then you see a blank one shows up, and you can actually delete that sheet by right clicking your mouse and saying delete. You can name a sheet by double clicking on it, and I covered this in the file and sheet naming lecture, but once again you can just double click it and you can type anything you want or whatever the problem I'm assigning tells you to do. And if you're in a PC environment, you can tab color. If you're in a Mac, at this point you can't. Let's talk about the Excel options. Inside the file menu there is an Excel option button, and when you click on that, this is where there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not going to go over it all because some of it is advanced, but one thing you should do is look at your version of Office and give yourself some kind of a username. This name will pop up inside of comments or other areas, so I'm going to just call myself RRA because those are my initials and say OK. Let's talk about the quick access toolbar. It comes standard with just a couple of buttons, but I like to edit my quick access toolbar with the things I use the most, and you can see I've got new, open, save, quick print, print preview, spelling, undo, redo, etc. So you can add more commands by clicking more commands, and then you can put any command you want in the quick access toolbar up to a certain amount. So pick the ones that you use all the time. The key to Excel and being efficient is how quickly you remember how to do things, and that you're not needing to go up into the menus very often. I'm a mouse clicker, so I right click my mouse a lot, which brings up a submenu of certain things. I also use the quick access toolbar, so it's good to get those set up right. You can insert a column by clicking on it and saying insert, and it will put it to the left. And you can insert, and I can undo that with my undo button, and I can insert a row by highlighting and saying insert, and it puts the row above. So those are just key things to know how to do. Let's go over the home menu. The home menu has all of the formatting. So you can format by right clicking and saying format cells, and it will bring up the format cells submenu. You can also come up here and you can bring down the submenu up here and see it. You're going to be able to do number formatting, all different options, alignments by clicking on if you want indent, etc. The fonts, where you pick your colors and your size and your styles. your borders, which you can actually change your border colors instead of the default of black. You can do fill the cells, and then you can protect, which I'm not going to talk about in this lecture. There's all of those things I just showed you come across in little submenus here. So if you're working in something and you know exactly what you're trying to do, you can come up here and click it. Conditional formatting is really a cool thing, so I'm going to show you that right now. Let's say you have numbers or things you want to color. You can highlight each one. Like I can press my mouse and I can press my control button and I can select them and I can say red. Well, if you have a huge long list of things or a big worksheet of things, it's quicker to use conditional formatting. So you come up to conditional formatting and you say new rule. And let's say I want to make the cells that are equal to the word blue. And you can make this numbers or anything. And you say, I want to format them bold and I want them to be blue. And say OK. And say OK. Notice they all turned blue. So if I type blue here, it's going to come up blue. Notice it didn't care if I used caps or if I used big letters the way I wrote the rule. So that's something that's really cool to know how to do. You can edit a rule also once you do it by coming in and saying manage rules, and then you can edit the rule. And the other thing I want to show you is if you have numbers, let's just have some numbers here. If you want to make these dollar signs, you can do quick formatting up here at the top, or you can bring down the menu and you can pick any kind of formatting you want. General is typically used if you're trying to upload or download and you don't want any weird dollar signs or anything. Currency and accounting are different in where it puts the dollar sign. A currency will put the dollar sign right next to it. Accounting will put the dollar sign out to the side. Okay, let's talk about autofill real quick. Autofill is something that Excel, it's a function within Excel. So if you want to autofill and you know the sequence, so you know you want something to just be one number apart, you can highlight the sequence, grab the handle where my mouse is the plus sign and drag it down and it will autofill. Sometimes I use a format where I say I want a little formula in here. Notice little formulas put colors around each cell reference, so it's easy when your formulas get big to figure out what you're doing. Notice the blue around here and the blue up here. So in this formula, I just made a really simple one. I said take the number above and add 1. The thing about this is if I copy and I insert, this one stayed 5s, and then this one here I could just read back down. So it's just a simple little formula that I wanted to show you versus autofill. And we're going to do the insert menu in the pivot lecture. So that's the end of Excel Basics A. If you have any questions, send me an email. Thanks.